Welcome to the Joy and Goal Setting Podcast, where we empower individuals to discover their purpose, achieve their goals, and experience a joyful life through encouraging conversation. I'm your host, Hudson Dodds. Today, we're sitting down with Aaron Beasley, owner of 5 Palm Casual patio furniture stores, and as a husband and father. We're going to discuss his business successes, family life, and how to attack his health goals. Aaron, welcome to the show. I'm so pumped you're here, buddy.
Thank you very much for having me. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so tell us where you're from, where you went to college, and the last book you read.
Ooh, good questions. So from Charleston, born and raised. My grandfather walked from Barnwell, South Carolina in, I believe around 1920 to downtown Charleston. And so anyway, he did that. Then they moved from there to James Island in the 30s. And so I'm from James Island, went to James Island High School, and then I went to the University of South Carolina, where I guess I earned my diploma in the School of Journalism as a public relations major. And then when you get that degree, so you have to read. And so you asked me, what's the last book I read? And the last book I read cover to cover was last night. I finished it. Took me a while. It was a good read. It was Where the Wild Things Are. To my 2-year-old wit, putting him to bed. And my favorite part of the book is when he talked about the wild things gnashing their teeth, rolling their eyes, and showing their terrible claws. And but that's the last book I've read. Sorry, I don't have better books to give you, but I'm in the weeds with kids.
Nice. With 2-year-old, and any other kids?
Yep. So I have a 6-year-old girl, a 4-year-old boy, a 2-year-old boy, and a 5-month-old boy, and they're great. It's being a parent is your highest calling. They're an absolute blessing, and they absorb a lot of my time. Which is a good thing. I love them. Love it.
Yeah. And you have a wife?
I do. I joke. I tell people I married the Michael Jordan of mothers, and I did. I got a good wife. Emily Beasley, she's excellent. She was born to be a mama. And, if anybody ever wants some parenting or marital advice, marry a girl who wants to be a mama. It's good. It's good. It makes life easier for you. But she's great, and we dated for about 2 years. I met her in 2012. The day I was setting up the phone lines at Palm Casual, I got her phone number. Have I ever told you a story when I got her phone number? So I was told I need to meet this girl, and I got her phone number. God, I wish I still had it. So I text her. They said, text her. She's a nurse, and she'll respond best to a text. So I text her. And yeah, hey, my name's Aaron. I was told that I should give you a text and that we would be nice to meet or whatever. And anyway, so I hit send, and about a minute later, I got a response back. Hey, man, I don't know who Emily is, but this is the total wrong number. Hey, but good luck. And the best part of it is the phone number I had. It wasn't like I just misdid it by a number. Like this lady gave me a number. And it was actually my grandparents set her up with her husband. 40 years later, she sets me up with my wife. The number is like a totally different area code. I mean, it was completely different. I was like, where did you get this number from? She was like, oh, sorry, I don't know where that number came from. What? And but I wish I still had the text and the response.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, we joked. We said we should invite that person to our wedding, but I didn't save it at the time. Didn't know that's where it was going.
That's a trip. So you mentioned Palm Casual.
Yeah.
Tell the listeners how you got there, what that's like. What is Palm Casual?
Man, so good story, good stuff. So I love Palm Casual. My college roommate, his dad, started the company Palm Casual in the 70s. It's a patio furniture store. We're now currently the largest outdoor cushion manufacturer in the entire country. By the 80s, we're the largest pipe furniture manufacturer in the country. We are, in my opinion, the definition of a small business in America. We are meat and potatoes. We are not fancy, which I can get into some of that, and it's great. It fits me very well because it is although we're a big company, we are small, and I laugh. I believe I earned a PhD in business working for Palm Casual that a school of business would never give you, because you learn everything of actual business. But my college roommate, his dad started us. His joke during college is people would always say, hey, what are you going to do after college? And people would always go to him and say, hey, man, is your dad hiring? We'd love to work for him. And he'd always say, oh, you don't want to work for my dad. It's terrible. Don't do it. And then I graduated, and I was in the shower actually one night in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and he knocked on the door and he was like, hey, my dad wants you to call him Monday. He's wanting to offer you a job. I called him Monday, drove to Orlando on Wednesday, accepted a job, and the following was actually Tuesday because it was Memorial Day weekend. And Tuesday I started, and I went from a college kid having the time of my life to an adult managing a patio furniture store in Daytona Beach, Florida. And it was good. I love it. I joke and say he's the only person to ever offer me a job, which is accurate. I never interviewed. I never had a resume, and it fits me perfect. I love it. Palm Casual is a great meat and potatoes company. Have I ever told you my Chick-fil-A theory?
No.
If I said, what's the best fast food restaurant?
Well, it's quick service, but Chick-fil-A, of course.
Yeah. Okay, am I not allowed to say fast food?
It's not fast food, it's quick service.
Okay. Yeah. So but you would say Chick-fil-A, and everybody kind of talks about, oh, Chick-fil-A is great. You hear all this, and in my opinion, Chick-fil-A is not great. They're not. Chick-fil-A, people say they get your order right all the time. They do, but they're expected. People say, oh, the people there are so nice. That's expected. And it's normally hot. It's expected. In my opinion, Chick-fil-A isn't great. It's just that McDonald's, Burger King, Hardee's,
is also
they
bad.
became so bad that Chick-fil-A being normal, doing what you should do, made them excellent. I say that to say, going back to Palm Casual, I'm thankful today in business that so many companies, I believe, choose to not do things they should correctly. And I don't have to be great. I have to provide you the service you expect, and do what I am expected to do. Now, I say all that also to say that's the great thing about Palm Casual is we operate like it's 1950. We do. I mean, you know that. We if we say we're going to do something, we do it. If we don't and we fail, we admit failure, and then we do our best to correct it. We have our 30-day trial period. You have 30 days to return anything for any reason. Don't care if you find a better value in patio furniture, and for any other reason, you can get a full refund. We write you a check. We drive your house, pick it up for free. If you paid for delivery, we'll refund your delivery, even though we delivered it and picked it up for free. There's nothing you can do to avoid it. I say all of that to say we're not geniuses. That's not groundbreaking. It's trying to do the right thing. So in saying that, one thing I love and what I'm so thankful about working at Palm Casual is the fact that we try. We believe we should do the right thing. And again, you don't have to be great. I don't have to move a mountain for you. I just have to do what's expected. So anyway, my 2 cents. My Chick-fil-A story.
Well, and you went from manager to now owning 5 stores, right? And so that's no small task. And that was a lot of hard work, a lot of effort. And it's a company that you've been a part of, and you've put your own stamp on in your stores for sure.
Yeah.
And what you're speaking to is, I don't know that you maybe would classify it this way in your own words, but the way that we classify it in our framework is, as humans and as businesses, we have missions and we have visions and we have vision statements, we have values, we have mantras, and that's who grounds us with who we are as people and who we are as a company. And when we follow through on those, when our daily actions align with that, then one, we find joy in that. And then from a business standpoint, the customers find joy in that because you're aligning with your mission on a daily basis. And so I think it aligns perfectly with what we're talking about here. And from a company standpoint, but from a personal standpoint, I'm curious along the path.
Yeah.
One, did you ever, after you opened your first one, was there ever a desire to open more? And two, were there moments where there were some pretty big failures? And if so, what did you learn from them?
Good questions. Remind me of the failure one in case I forget. I want to make sure I hit that's really good. Yeah, so I went to work in Daytona Beach for 5 years. Basically, the day I took over, the economy collapsed. That was it. Store had been there since, I think, 1981, and I managed to put together the best years the store had ever had in a failing economy. So that trampolined me to my partners, at that time, my boss, saying, hey, I know you want to move back to Charleston, and we're interested in opening up a store there, so let's go. So we opened, and there were multiple locations in Florida. I knew that I would potentially want more locations. The great debate in my head was, is it better to have one store that I control that I know can make money, or have two average stores, because I'm halfway between both? So yes, I did, but I had to make sure it would work. And fortunately, my very first hire was a guy who became my manager in Myrtle Beach, who was an excellent hire. And him doing that and his ability allowed me to maintain my store with a second store, a tertiary store that's working and doing great. And then that, with his success, it allowed for another store and another store. And I guess my statement there is, things happen. I don't know. Did I wake up and say, hey, I'm going to go to work for Palm Casual? Actually, my original thought when I took the job, I wanted to work 2 years and leave. And I was very out, like, I'm going to work for you 2 years. I'm going to get a PhD in business.
And then I'm out.
I'm out. I'm going to do my own business. And now here we are, like 18 years later, and I'm heavily involved. But so no, that was never my intent. But I knew I wanted more, and I believe, and I still do today. Every day, I knew if I did the right things by customers. I did the Chick-fil-A deal. I sold effectively. I told our story, and I genuinely, I know we've got the best price, the best value, the best product, the best warranty. I mean, that's just a fact. My struggle is having the guy who walks in, and Mr. and Miss Jones, they walk in there and they understand that, believe it, and buy into it. And so I'm really an educator. I have to educate them on what we do, because I know I win everywhere else. But it's hard. Not everybody can do it. And but I knew if I could do that effectively, that would allow for a secondary store, and then a third store, and now to 5 stores. So was it the goal? The goal was, and it still is, I want to do my best today. I want to do my best today. But I know in doing that, it will balloon to other things.
Yeah, well, let me ask. I want to get the failure a little bit.
I want to come to the failure thing,
Yeah,
but go.
But I'm curious, because I think that's kind of, I want to know when you say that, because that's not consistent with most people in how they sell, or most people in business, is not, I'm going to do my best today.
Yeah.
It's, I'm going to make as much money as possible through whatever, or I'm going to do whatever I can, or make his boss happy, or whatever. Where does that come from? Like, is that something that you were brought up with your parents? Is like, where does that innate desire to do your best, and then through that, knowing it will produce X, Y, and Z results?
I might take us down a path here. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think, for starters, my success in business, or lack of success in business, does not define me. I'm defined first and foremost as a Christian, and through my relationship with God. Bang, So that's, I'm not of this earth. My kingdom's elsewhere. The bottom line. So
identity and purpose.
Yeah, but so if I understand that, man, this will sound weird, but I've never been heavily money driven. I think money is a means to things. I think that, I want to have some money to do some things, and I guess it's how we keep score in life. which is a positive thing, and it allows us to join country clubs and play golf and go out on the boat and all that, which is great. But I've never been a person that was, I don't want to be bound to the handcuffs, the chains of money. So in doing that, I think it gave me a freedom to, I can do my best.
So what I'm hearing is having a purpose and knowing your identity has freed you up then to live a life that's joyful, centered on doing your best, that aligns with who you want to be.
Yeah. And I mean, I can tell you when I first started, and I think this is growing up, my parents instilled in me, I felt like I had a massive responsibility to Mr. Crowfoot, who started Palm Casual, who was my boss at the time, who's now my business partner. I had a responsibility to him because he entrusted me with a store, and I was 22 years old. I'll never forget, he paid me, which I don't know if he hears this, don't take this the wrong way, but he paid me $10,000 more a year on salary than I thought. Had he paid me $10,000 less, I would have taken it. But you got to realize there wasn't a lot of money there anyway. But I thought I was the richest guy in the world, and I thought he was way overpaying me. Therefore, I felt a responsibility that I have to take care of his baby. I mean, this was his baby, and I'm entrusted with it. And again, it's little things like that I think separated me and made me probably different than most. I mean, I've had 500 employees now that have worked for me. And I can tell you, one of the biggest separators are very controllable things. Like, treat it like it's your own, man. Long before I pulled an owner's draw or made money as if it were my own, I was just thankful, dude, I've got a job, and this guy believes in me, so I will be on time. I will not just take stupid days off. I will show up with a good attitude, and you do those things, and it's kind of hard not to be successful. I was talking to a buddy of mine whose kid just he's a freshman at CFC, and so I was talking to his kid, hey, how's it going? And I told him, I saw him at his orientation or whatever, and I said, here's the deal. You know, you hear, oh, just wait till you get to middle school. You know, teachers don't care, and just wait till you get to high school, and man, it'll be over. And when you get to college, you know, and I went to University of South Carolina, you know, I had 400 people in some of my freshman year classes. I can tell you this, teacher still cared. And if you just showed up, like, the reason I graduated college was not because I was smarter, better, or anything. I went to class every day. I sat in the front and I paid attention. So if my kids see this, don't get mad. I've never in my life studied, ever. I've never opened a book. I never went to the library. I joke, I graduated in 2005. I didn't even have a computer. I think I was the last person on earth to graduate college. I was a journalism major, never owned a computer. And I never went to the library. Never. One time I had to drive from Columbia to Charleston to use my parents' computer to type a paper, to print it out and drive all the way back to Columbia. A true story. But I say all that to say, showing up with a good attitude gets you really far, in my opinion. And
we're like, so faith is a big piece of it that freed you up. But
yeah.
I think in that piece too,
I'm not a burden to. I'm not a glutton for money. Like, it was never about money. It was never about, I'll sacrifice $10 today to make 200 tomorrow because I think we're doing the right thing. And I'm not defined. You can't define me by the amount of money in my bank account. It just doesn't define me. Which things have gone well, but they're an absolute blessing, and even money, it's not mine, it's the Lord's. I mean, you know that. It's and I'm not just saying that for whatever, like, it's a blessing. It allows me to do some stuff, but I'm not defined by how much money I make. I never will be.
Yeah, well, it sounds like money for you aligns with the kind of person that you want to be through your faith. So I'm curious to kind of jump back into failures along the way, and I'm curious kind of what failures you had, big and small, and what they were like.
I was actually talking about failures to one of my managers yesterday. I would think the biggest failures I've had, at least business-wise, are in hiring. And firing is tough. We're as good as the people that work for us. Sometimes you make bad hires. I laughed because we hired somebody new, and it was this guy's first hire within our company, and they always get nervous that I'm going to judge them by who they hire. And first of all, I judge you for you, and I'm going to judge them for them. And but he said, he was like, well, what if they don't work out? Will you be mad at me? I said, no. I said, do you know who's hired more bad people than anybody in this company? Me. Like, I've hired by far the worst people more than anybody, but I've also hired the best. I've also hired more great employees than anybody else within the company. I think that in business, if I had to say some of my business, dude, I've had guys leave me, steal from me, hundreds of thousands of dollars lost, squandered by bad hires that were my fault. But it's my fault, and I shouldn't have let it get there.
So after those, what was the learning? Did you have a learning lesson?
Yeah.
Did you reflect on it and say, okay, next time I'm going to institute this policy or this process or this procedure? Like, because for us, we talk about growth mindset, and having growth mindset looks at failure and says, if we fail, how can we look backwards? How do we grow from it so we can become more the person we want to be in the future? So when you had those failures, what did you do to not safeguard from it, but how'd you learn as not just as a business owner, but like as a person?
Yeah, no, I did. I'm going to answer that with a statement. Bear with me here. I believe, myself included, one of the biggest failures or biggest struggles of especially adults today is they're so terrible. We're horrible at admitting fault. And I can tell you, bad job by me hiring. Boom, my fault. Now, I absolutely put things in place to limit, an employee stealing from us, or an employee creating bad competition, or an employee spoiling other employees. I had a guy, they try to create mutinies and stuff, which is unfounded. However, so yes, I learned, and I think this goes for all sorts of issues we've had or in life and everything, is I hope, and I know I have, most of the time, looked at myself and said, it's my fault. It's not his. It's my fault for allowing it to happen, or it's my fault. And adults, and I see it in my business all the time, people don't want to accept fault. And here's the kicker. If you give me an excuse, if this microphone's not working, and you say, well, it's the microphone's fault, well, then there's nothing for you to change, which is fine. It might be the microphone's fault. But if it's your fault because you never plugged the microphone in, next time we go to do a podcast, the microphone's not going to be plugged in because you did nothing wrong. Therefore, you're going to have the issue all over again. So my statement is, when you were asking about failures, I hope, and I try to, especially as the leader of the company, say, no, this is my fault. Here's what we're going to do to change it. And I have to admit failure. And I think it's very difficult for people to admit it. And I think one of the advantages I have, for whatever, in my nature, thank the good Lord that I have a high tolerance to say, yeah, that's my fault. And I hope the people working around me believe that.
Well, when you think about failures in the professional world, when you accept them, when I say accept them, I mean accept fault.
Yeah, it's my fault.
Them.
Got to change it.
Well, and what it does is that changes who you are as a person. It's not just, right? So
now there's something to fix.
Yeah, and grow as a person.
Yeah.
Not just how do we not lose money next time, but it's what do I need to do personally to be a better person, so that, and then by default, then yeah, of course you're going to learn, well, maybe I need to be more, I need to do a better job of keeping up with the procedures. I need to do a better job of being more detail oriented, or I need to know that I'm out of capacity and therefore I need to manage my people better and let other people do the job that I can't do. So it comes back to growing as a person.
I think that's the goal there.
Yeah.
You grow as a person, which then you get better. Well, this would be a little stretch, but I've had people say, they're talking about football coaches, and they said that Shane Beamer at South Carolina, his coaches should say, we have no flaws. Because if you're cognizant of a flaw, you should change it. But if you're not, that doesn't mean you don't have flaws, but that means everything you're aware of, you attempt to change, to grow, to become better. Either that, or you need to say, hey, I'm good with being mediocre.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it, because those are your two decisions. But if you deflect the failure, then there's nothing there for you to change. Therefore, you just want to find yourself in the same spot. And I think you're right, the personal growth.
So you started as working for Mr. Crowfoot, became a manager, have a store, have 5 stores now. Are there some work goals? And when I say work, it doesn't have to be in Palm Casual. But when we talk about the life role of work, it spans all the way till by the time we die. So I'm curious, do you have any goals you care to share? Are they written down? Have you talked about them with Emmy? What are you doing to work towards them? What kind of work goals do you have?
Yeah, I do. I'm a big believer in goals. I can tell you, probably a week after I first texted her, when I texted the wrong person, I sat down and made goals for Palm Casual. And I did. And I said, hey, we want to do day by day. And that's how we achieve them, I believe. But no, there's always been a high level view of what that is. And I want to maximize the stores. 1, 2, I want to expand always. Always looking. Let's find a good person. If I go to dinner tomorrow night, I'll be looking at the waiter. Is this person, do they have a little juice to them? And if they do, I will have a conversation. I'm always looking, because if I have good people, I can expand. So that would be it. And then, naturally, security. I feel like time is an asset that I'm still on the side of. It's an asset, but I'm quickly approaching being on the downhill side of it. Therefore, Amy and I do have goals of saving and in that, so that a day can come to where, I might not have to work as much, or she doesn't. And, we can leave something for our kids, or not have to think as much about it, which is, again, it's an absolute blessing. But make no mistake, it's a defined decision of previous years, and it's a work to get there.
Yeah. So you talked about Emmy, you talked about setting goals together for work and for finances. For us are two life roles, wealth and work. And curious, with your family, it's a big piece of who you are.
Yeah.
2 things. 1, talk about failure personally in work. I'm curious how that translates, not just necessarily personally, but it could be, but as a father and husband. And how do you teach that? What does that look like in your house? And 2, what kind of family goals do you have?
Yeah.
And not wealth related, but like family.
Yeah. One, I will say, and not to keep, but I think another characteristic I'm potentially blessed with is I have an extremely high tolerance for failure, or maybe for embarrassment. Like I don't fear it. I really don't. I'm not scared of it. I have a riverboat gambler's mentality in life. Like I had a guy ask me, he said, when you opened a store, how'd you know someone would come in and buy furniture? I didn't, but I'm willing to roll the dice and see what happens. And so I have a tolerance for it, which I think for my line of work is a blessing, because I can tolerate the unknown. I can tolerate a bad day today. I can look at our sales numbers. If they're not good, I'm fine with it, because I know tomorrow's coming, and I can correct it. With my family, this will sound funny. I'm looking forward to my boys playing baseball. It's a sport of failure. And I told someone the other day, I said, I'm looking forward to them getting a home run with everybody watching and them clearing the bases. I'm also looking forward to their response when they strike out. And I can tell you that's going to happen. You know that. I think there's growth in failure, and failure on a platform where people see you and how you handle it. And I have goals of teaching my sons and my daughter how to fail, and how to, again, not let that define you, and how to embrace it and feel comfortable in those situations. I could be failing at this podcast right now. I don't know, but I'm willing to roll the dice and see.
Well, let's go down that line a little bit here. So, you desire to have a goal to teach your kids failure and how to respond to failure. Now, is that a goal that is in the brain? Is that a goal you've written out? Is that a specific goal?
Yeah, I've written that goal out.
And if so, so it's been written out. What does that look like from there to action? Like, does it stand there? Do you think about, what am I doing today in order to get there? Like, how does that happen? And then what is it like when you've achieved it? Like, what does that look like?
Ooh, so I believe in becoming comfortable with failure allows you to find success. And this is not an original quote. And I want to say, I think it was Vince Lombardi, but he said that his teams will relentlessly pursue perfection, fully aware that they know it's impossible to achieve. But in their attempt at achieving it, they will find greatness. And I think that in all facets of life, in sports, in schooling, like in education, in faith, in relationships with others as friends, in relationships with future spouses, I think that mentality, and I want to instill that in them, will allow them to have an elevated purpose and an elevated fullness of relationship with others and in things. I mean, and here's the deal too. I have no bones about it. My kids aren't going to be NFL players or whatever, and that's fine. And so success is not for them defined by what level do they make it. Success is, did you give your absolute best effort, and did you find yourself figuring out how to be to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations and finding your ability to thrive in there? Because I think in doing that, that translates absolutely to business and then also in life. I mean, as an adult, we deal with uncomfortable situations, and we're going to deal with family members passing away, and we're going to deal with strife amongst friends and family, and we're going to deal with financial issues in marriage. And you have to learn how to, I believe, get comfortable in uncomfortable situations. And I think people who can handle that, again, there's no secret sauce to business. And I guess in the eyes of the world, we have a somewhat successful business. We're not Microsoft over here, but I put a roof over our head, and we have some enjoyment, that we can have from it, and some leftover money we can tithe. So it's a good thing. However, I think we got there through finding that and having that ability to be uncomfortable and not be embarrassed. It's uncomfortable to go up to somebody who walks in your door, and good and well they don't want to deal with a salesperson, and you have to convince them that you're not a salesperson. I'm here to educate you, and you're going to love what I got. And it takes skill, but it also takes a backbone. When you play baseball, let me tell you something. It's not easy to walk out there and you're facing a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and the guy wants to get you out, and he's embarrassed if you get a hit, and you're embarrassed if you don't get a hit. And embarrassment is a very powerful emotion on both sides, and you got to get there. So I want my kids to do it. I have goals. I mean, my first goal for our family, I can tell you first and foremost, they got to know the Lord. It's my responsibility to get them there. And so we go to church every Sunday. We're going to go to church. They're going to hear the gospel in our house daily. And I think if you center on that, again, the other stuff will fall into place. You will find joy in things. You will find joy in relationships, and you will find a sense of purpose in life. I can tell you, I look back, I thought about the job opportunity when I went to work for Palm Casual for maybe 2 minutes. In meeting my wife, I knew within 2 minutes I was going to marry her. I spent, is it the third time she asked me? I said yes. But but I spent zero time struggling with just, in hindsight, these massively large decisions. And this is just how I'm wired. And I'm not saying, even locations, Palm Casual. I'd drive up and down. I'd go to Myrtle Beach. One day, I'd circle 5 buildings. No. Yeah, I'll go there. Sign a lease, commit my life over. And if it fails, we're broke. We have no money. We're on the street, and I would do it with absolute nerves of steel without thinking. And I could make the decision. But I would know, and I say all that because I believe in hindsight, and I didn't realize it at the time, but, I was in prayer previously in my life. I was prayed over by people in my life. I tried to do what I felt like the Lord's path for me was. And in turn, I feel very blessed that I found a wonderful wife. We have great, healthy children. I have these locations that tend to be excellent. and it worked out. And I really didn't put much time into thinking about any of it as bad as, but it was good because I feel like the time was put in previously, if that makes sense. And whatever tangent I just went on there.
No, that's good. So, we've hit on family, we've hit on faith, we've hit on work. I'm curious, out of like the kind of life roles, and you throw in like health and you throw in community, and is there one that you feel like, man, if I don't commit myself enough to this, I commit myself to all these other things, but there's one that I probably need to like focus on, and I'm maybe a little scared to do it because you need to, and it's kind of hard to get going. Is there one of the life roles, or do you feel like, no, I spend about...
Is this an intervention for me? Are we about to... No, I can tell you what it is.
Yeah, what is it?
Health. It's the most important commodity of life, and I need to do better about eating healthy and working out, and it's one of those things that I should do better. So yeah, I'd say I should do that. The other stuff, I've probably, in the eyes of many people, am somewhat of a workaholic. I've probably done that. I do, when I'm not at work, try to pour in to my kids as much as I can. As of now, I don't have, and I hope I don't, but regrets on that. But I could do better in all of those facets. But no, I'd say help. And saying, I'll say this, as kids get older, they start playing fall ball, and they do this travel league stuff. Stay committed in church, man. I think commitment in marriage and commitment in church is a daily decision. And I can tell you this, if David can do what David did in the Old Testament, I'm capable of anything. Therefore, it's daily. I have to wake up every day and say, no, I'm going to try to do this, and I will fail, and I will sin, and I will make poor decisions. But again, I know where I'm going, and I know that I am striving to follow the path that the Lord laid out, and I hope I do, and I think I have.
Well,
so far,
if you'll let me, I'd be curious to dive into the health side.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Because I think we talk about in goal setting, and we talk about deliberately practicing something, and you clearly deliberately practice with your family and with your work and with all these other aspects. But off the bat, you knew health, and so I'm curious.
I need to work out every day.
Well, with someone who is so goal oriented and who is clearly good at setting and achieving and moving on, and not just achieving goals, but goals that align with who you want to be, with your purpose, identity. Yeah. What's holding you back? So we often talk about you either feel stuck, I don't know where to start, or I feel lost, I don't know where to begin, right? Or I don't have the tools. Like, what is it do you think that's holding you back from saying, because clearly you know it.
Yeah. I can tell you exactly what I think it is. Time. Time. And I think time is a poor excuse as far as I'm putting my time into something else. And I think you put your time into what you value. Right. And so I don't put enough value on it, which is an immature and a poor thought. But, get up earlier. I'm capable, do that. And I can figure out where to start. I can make it happen.
Let's do a little exercise.
Okay. Like workout, right? You want to do some push-ups?
Yeah, let's do push-ups, jumping jacks, burpees. I'm going to get going here. When you look at your life, so you Mr. Aaron Beasley's laid at rest.
Yeah.
And your kids are up giving their eulogy, one of them, all of them, and they say,
or gaggle of them.
They say, when I think about my dad, and let's pretend like they fill in the blank about health.
Yeah.
Like he was someone who what? Now, you talked about a goal that the perfection that you could never achieve, right? Let's pretend it's that kind of a goal. It's a goal that you could never, ever, 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 ever achieve. It's the perfect you as it pertains to health. What would you want them to say about you? Like, if it could have been true, but it won't be. What do you want them to say about health?
I would guess that Dad cared enough about it personally that it also spilled to them, and toward the entire family had a model of healthy eating to maintain and to work out and get a sweat every day.
It's good. Yeah.
Oh,
so
I think
that's
that'll be
good.
the
So
answer there.
I think that's good. It's a little cop out. I think you could achieve that.
Oh no,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So right. So like, let's think even like what we
It's a
could.
decision. It's a decision.
We'll go there even though I think you could get even better than that. Right. So okay. So if that's the case, right, then that's super important because now what you're saying is your kids are going to be your age and older, and they're not going to have a model, and so who knows who they're going to be health-wise. So now it becomes super important, right?
Well, their mom's extremely healthy, so I'll blame her.
No, because you're still not becoming the person that you want to be, right?
Yeah.
And so it's going to free you up, the other thing. So you want to be there. And I would say probably even more, like you talked about your kids playing baseball, right?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully your grandkids, right? When you're 80, do you want to go outside in the backyard and play catch?
Absolutely.
Right. Well, if you're unhealthy, you be able to?
No.
No.
I had a guy tell me, I was in Dallas, and a guy said, if you want to feel good at 60, start feeling good at 40. I was like,
How old are you?
I turned 40 this year. I literally was turning 40 2 weeks later, and I was like, man, you just convicted me. Like,
Yeah. What did you do about it?
and it worked out for a little bit.
And you quit. And that's that's where like so with
open
the
a store and do some
yeah,
things.
But that's where the framework we talk about comes in, which is okay. So that's where you want to be. Mm-hmm. And then if you're 80, fill in the blank. We kind of joked about it a little bit, but maybe it's
very
like,
accurate. It's
but
an
maybe
accurate
it's like
statement.
I want to be able to throw a baseball with my great grandkid.
Yeah.
Or my great grandkid, whatever it is, right? And I want to be not impeded by my health to do that.
Yeah.
All right, if that's your dream goal, which you can't control that. You don't know what's going to happen in your body, but let's pretend.
No,
that's
but
it.
there's a lot that I can control.
So
There's a lot that you can control. I mean,
let's move it back.
That.
Yeah, so let's move it back then. So in 10 to 15 years, what would you need to do in order to achieve that goal?
You get a sweat every day.
Okay, so you need to be working out
You get a good
on a
sweat
consistent basis.
at least 3 times a week, but you better start at 5 days a week or 6 days a week. To
Okay,
get
so,
to the
so you're
3-day-a-week
40. So
plateau.
by the time you're 55, 60, by the time you're 60, you want to still be working out 3 days a week.
Wouldn't you say that? That'd be pretty
It's
good.
not my goal. It's your goal.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good goal.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so you back that up now and say, okay, then if in order to achieve that, which is fine, I think you can do more than that, but okay, we'll pretend like it's just 3.
All right.
By the
so
end of,
5 days a week.
By the end of, no, that's fine. By the end of this year,
yeah.
what do you need to be doing to ensure that you're becoming the person you need to be to get there, right? Like, what do you need to do?
Well, the first thing is you need to convict me, which is occurring.
Successful.
So now, I guess tomorrow.
No, in a year. Year goal. What's a year goal?
Be working out.
Well,
Be working out and eating healthier. You could do that.
It's not specific.
Okay. Working
It's a little
out.
more specific. Working out X number of times. Is it losing weight in order to
getting
get
to
there?
a target weight and maintaining it.
Right.
But even with that, I think the good goal is to work out. You need to. I think
That'd
it's
be like
very
today.
healthy to
I
get
think
a
we're getting
sweat.
to the today.
I think today
yeah.
is you got to get a sweat going. You got to get every
Right.
weekday. You need to get a sweat going. I agree
And so
with
that's the deliberate practice piece we talk about. So
Yeah.
just weekly. So you're setting up a goal where
Yeah,
it's
well,
like,
it's
daily,
the individual
whatever.
customer thing. Instead of the
That's exactly
I want
right.
to have 50 stores. It's no, I want to sell the next customer tomorrow.
Right.
The same
It's
principle.
the same principle. And so then when you said you wrote down your goals,
Yeah.
have you written down a health goal?
No, I need to.
That's why. That's why it's not
pressure. See,
happening.
you're putting
It's
pressure
not
on me. That's a
happening.
good thing.
So you write that down, and then by the end of the quarter and month, you set monthly goals and you set a daily goal or weekly goal, right?
Yeah.
So you're setting up this habit. So by the time you're 60, you're not thinking about it. It's just who you are. Who's Aaron? He's someone who works out. He works out. Aaron is someone who works out.
Yeah. I think if I did that for 3 years, that's the habit. I think it would take 3 years of consistent working out to develop a habit.
I think it'd take you 1 quarter.
Well, you think? No, I think it'd take longer than that. But anyway,
I'm
yeah.
coaching a guy right now. We're a year in.
Mm-hmm.
This time last year, he hadn't worked out in a long time, and his goal was to lose 20 pounds, to read a book a month, and then he wanted to be off his medication in 3 to 5 years of diabetes and other things. The goal for the first week was just, hey man, go walk your dog twice a week. That's it.
Yeah. Check
No
that box.
time, just do that. Came back and did it, great. Next week, same thing, great. All right, now let's do 3 times a week. Okay, great. All right, now let's time it and see how long it takes. Let's move it down. And then we started moving. We finished the quarter. He had lost 20 pounds. He was working out 4 days a week. He was eating healthy. So now
Set
we're a
some
year
goals.
now, and he's training for a triathlon.
Yeah.
So my point is, and we're not talking about it anymore because we switched to another life role.
Yeah.
So we went to work the next week, next quarter. It's a quarter because it becomes who you are. You're doing it on a daily and consistent basis.
So 1 year from now,
Yeah.
I'm going to be on this podcast.
And you're going to tell us just...
Season 4, and you'll be right up there with Joe Rogan. This will be a booming podcast.
And your story is going to be...
And I need to say, for a year, I've worked out consistently.
Yeah.
That's the challenge I'm
It
getting.
can't be consistent. It's got to be X number of times.
Well, consistent's 5 days a week.
Then that's it.
Well, yeah, I mean, wouldn't you say that's
but
consistency?
If it's 5 days, but I could do 1 day a week, and that's consistency.
Yeah, no, it can't be 1 day.
Right.
No,
So
no,
I'm saying you got to write down
5.
It's
It's got to be 5 days a week.
Yeah. So there's your homework. Write down monthly goal, a yearly goal, and then back it up to quarter, and then back up to monthly, and back it up to your day, to your week.
We want to shake on this? Is this a deal?
I think it's happening.
Is that a deal? All right, deal. I mean, convict me a little bit here, get tighter there. You know, I can live with that. But yeah, no.
But see, because then the deal is when you achieve that, and at the end of the year, truly, when you achieve your goal, right, whatever it is, or the target weight and working out consistently, it won't be I achieved it. Now what? I achieved it. So what? It's the joy is I achieved it so that when I'm 6, I'm still working out. Or we need to come with a bigger goal, but
Yeah.
so that I can throw the baseball.
Yeah,
So
then you're
that my
healthy
kids
to-
can look at me and say, I am who I am in a healthy way because dad showed me how. And now you become the person you want to be, right? So the goal isn't really to work out. It is, but it's really so that you impact your children.
Yeah. Yeah, we can make that happen. Let's make a little challenge here.
I think it's good.
I'm good with it. Yeah, I think that's a good thing.
Well, Aaron, it's been a joy.
Writing out the goals is a good thing.
Yeah, it's been a joy to have you. Thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for
fun.
making me a part of this. Love the podcast studio.
Yeah, thanks, man.